Josh Buttler, well played. That looked like fun as well.
Yeah, great fun. It was a fantastic win, a great run chase on a used wicket that played better today. So, yeah, great to get a partnership going with Malan, who's playing unbelievably well at the minute. His consistency is fantastic. So easy to just try and get him on strike.
There's not many people that strike it as well as you in T20, but him up the other end today, that was phenomenal.
Yeah, absolutely phenomenal. I think the credit it's the simplicity he bats with. I think he's got very strong basics that serve him really well. He's obviously playing with a lot of confidence and a lot of freedom as well.
And a lot of intelligence as well, because it was a different pitch in Pal, and he felt like he couldn't get any timing going. He was clothed it. He wondered if he was getting too far behind the rate. And then I know it's a different pitch, but he can do that. So there's versatility there too. Yeah,
absolutely. And that can happen in T20. Some days you don't feel like you're hitting it that well, and then suddenly you get away. He came in today right from the off, a couple of boundaries, and that just set him on his way. Brilliant innings.
Has he surprised the dressing room, Dawid? I mean, I think he said he surprised himself almost with the way that he's playing in T20 cricket. Have you had that impression as well, or did you always feel it was in him?
I think as soon as he came into the side, I think his first innings he got 70 or 80 against South Africa at Cardiff, and I think he then just realised he can do it at this level. He play on generally better wickets as well than county cricket, and he's made the most of that. I think the key is just the simplicity he bats with. I think the basics he bats with is classical, great cricket shots, and he played some fantastic ones tonight.
Do you see a kind of improvement when people come into this England setup, though? I mean, there's such a kind of internal competitive dynamic there that keeps pushing people on to improve.
Yeah, there is, and that's a really healthy competition as well. Guys pushing each other, and then when you get opportunities to try and capitalise on them, and that's what David's done really. When he's got in, he's gone on and played really well, and it's always nice to come into a good side. When he's had his opportunities playing amongst guys who've been playing well, and we've had success in white ball cricket. It's a nice side to come into at the moment.
You obviously struck the ball beautifully today. How have you felt in general with your batting on this trip so far?
A little bit, Russ. I think I've been searching for something, but actually sort of felt like I turned up to the game in Pal and the game today with a much clearer, better mindset, a bit more relaxed, and almost said I'll take some time, and almost changed the way I look at T20 batting a little bit from the last IPL, watching the West Indian guys who try and back their six hitting a lot. So if you're getting a bit stuck, as I felt like there was a little bit today, but sort of looking at my score and thinking, well, if I hit the next 2 balls for 6, suddenly I jump into a different position, and I'm so just sort of staying quite comfortable and calm that when I get one in my area, if I put it away, that will set me on my way.
I wanted to ask you got in that position very early on when the young lad bowls to Pamela. I mean, was that a calculated, aggressive assault on a young kid who might be a little bit nervous coming in for Rabada?
A little bit, and also trying to play the conditions. There was a shorter leg side boundary for the right-hander from that end. We tried to sort of rotate. That's one of the beauties having left and right hand with you're always able to target that side. And I just felt like for me, David had played so well. I'd faced enough balls now that it was time for me to try and come to the party.
Van der Dussen and Faf du Plessis obviously played exceptionally well in their partnership of 127. Michael and I were looking at the small margins that bowlers now have in T20. There seemed to be like a solid plan of trying to go for the Yorker, and when you did get it in the Yorker, obviously they couldn't get it away, but that far out was the difference between going out of the ground.
Yeah, the margins are small. It's a thankless task sometimes for the bowlers, but I think that's where you have to manage expectations, and how individual balls are so big. You might have gone for a boundary every ball of 5 balls. That 6th ball you get a dot in, you're going to get some close games where you're going to win by 2 or 3. Every ball is that big event. If you can stay calm as a bowler and try and nail that one ball and over, it might just be the difference.
You've come from IPL. You're sticking around for the one-day games. You've obviously had long periods in the bubble. I think in the summer you said you found it quite tricky, just waking up, seeing the ground day after day after day. Has this been a slightly freer bubble for you, do you feel? I know your family are here as well in the vineyard.
No families here,
Oh.
but it certainly felt freer. I think staying away from the ground is quite a nice relief. I think Old Trafford and the Rose Bowl, you couldn't escape the ground. So we're staying at a lovely hotel here. We've got lots of outside space and use of a pool, and it's not all bad.
Life is okay. Can I just ask you one thing about the board that is up in the dressing room? We noticed it, and it was picked up by the SuperSport cameras. Just the analysts just offering some suggestions to Owen Morgan. How has that worked in the dressing room? And we don't know what D3 is.
We're so dim, we didn't. It's been happening all series. We've only just picked up on it.
He's calling out the Euro Millions numbers. So the lads are checking the tickets. No, I think analysis has become such a huge part of the game. I don't think Owen needs too much help when he's out there. He's a fantastic captain, but he works closely with Nathan to come up with suggestions and certain matchups, and it's just an offering of help.
I know Nathan had tried it in the PSL because I chatted to him about it in first lockdown. Actually, he worked quite closely with Shan Massoud, and he said it's going to come into the game more and more, and he thought that was the first time it had happened in the PSL. Did it happen at all in the IPL, or is this the only other time that you've seen it?
Not that I noticed in the IPL. Obviously in the IPL you have the two tactical timeouts as well, so you get time with your coach there on the field who can give suggestions and bring information from an analyst. But I think you've got to be very careful. It's how you use the information best. There still has to be an instinctive, intuitive side to the game, but if you can use analysis to better that, then it's a force for good.
Make sure you get the signals right as well.
Just finally, you're obviously involved in the run-up to the 50-over World Cup and ultimately becoming world champions, and the progression that the side was making, the role definition that the players had. Do you get that feeling that is now just starting to shape up in the 2020 game?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit different in T20. Obviously the guys going off and playing franchise cricket and then coming back. I think one thing, there is a hell of a lot of confidence and belief in the dressing room. Some fantastic players. We're out there batting. It gives you a lot of freedom to go on because you've got such world-class players behind you as well. So it's a fantastic side. Guys going to tournaments like the IPL and Joffre the MVP of that tournament. That makes me feel confident knowing I've got the MVP of the biggest tournament in my team. So that rubs off on everyone, and I think that's been a great dressing room to be in.